I know you were wondering, maybe he wasn't going to show up tonight. Maybe he didn't want to talk about that accidental spear heard round the world. Maybe he didn't want to talk about what happened here at the end of season 7, episode 147. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about the BTW television championship. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about the BTW Rumble to take place here in 2 weeks. Nah, you got another thing coming, because our guest, who hasn't been here in a minute, he's got plenty to say on a platform he's ready made for, a platform alongside he and BTW. They were born for. They were born to be here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and I can assure you, he's got plenty to say about why this time it really was an accident, and why this time it wasn't about RJS, but rather mad to the jack to the BCF to the 4. And yeah, I'll have to ask him about a headline who's trailblazed his way to Oregon. I'll most certainly talk about what's ahead here, and who knows whatever else, and maybe even a BTW related announcement for more BTW coverage to come here on Sportswire Radio. And I know, since you've been waiting for this here for, well, about an hour, but I'll make up for it here and some. I am
I'm sorry,
going
by
to,
the way.
no, I'm going to make up for it, because after all, just like any other rock star, because I mean, we just had on a guy, let's just say, Mr. Brian Damage Foresight of Kicks, Mr. Rockstar himself, the man that many would say his band was responsible for the careers of, I don't know, Poison, Rat, Winger, and he's a rock star himself. And of course, like our guest here, who's a rock star in the backyard in the underground wrestling circuit, they're, well, fashionably late. So, I mean, boy, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Kicks his last show, 15,000 people almost. BTW's last show last week almost hit 1,000 views. This one's approaching 250. So you know what that means here. Since we are here on a platform that's had five mainstream superstars, and I promise you we'll be getting more real soon, I have to give that introduction for our guest here, because I see the chat is waiting for it. He's waiting for it. And you better believe, if Rhino got it, Savio Vega got it, Doug Pinnick got it, Randy Jackson, not that guy, the other one, and Mr. Brian Damage Foresight himself got it, you better believe Comatose is getting it and some. Yeah, and he's even got the ladies with him here, just like the rock stars. Brian Damage Foresight didn't even do that one. Instead, he had the cats in the background. This guy, he's got the real chicks. I'll leave that to Mr. Damage Foresight, because we know we have more Kicks coverage coming here. Stay tuned for that. But I am, in the words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, I am ready to get rocked. Let's get rocked, baby, here. No better way than to introduce our guest here on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one Sports Show. The man who's the self-proclaimed and maybe the GOAT of BYW. He's the reigning, defending BYW interpromotional champion last season. And not only was he the belt collector, he was a triple champion. His name is, simply put, one of the GOATs of BTW. He is most certainly born to wrestle. His name is, simply put, dun 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 dun. Da, 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 da. 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 Da, 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 da. Comatose. The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing absolutely fantastic this evening. And welcome everyone to Sportswire Radio. And I have to say, we have one hell of a show for you tonight.
Well,
Absolutely. And I give
certainly.
my promise.
You're going to definitely give us a show, no question about that. And bang, bang, balls of fire there, to quote our friends there at Kicks. They used to love the bomb references, but we won't have too many bombs here. We'll certainly save that for the ring. We'll definitely show you what happened here today in BTW. And a lot to get into. We have the BTW Rumble ahead, but for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, baby, the platform you, Comatose, and BTW most certainly helped build Sportswire Radio, which led us to the likes of yesterday's guest, Mr. Brian Damage Forsythe of a band that has 149,000 followers on Facebook, a band that's last show ever sold 15,000 tickets. They were here on Sportswire Radio. You just wait for tomorrow or Thursday when we get even more mainstream coverage for that. You follow that up, but tell us what happened between you and RJS and the accidental spear heard round the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, you all know me very, very, very well. I am very blunt. I am very straight to the point. If I want to do something, I will make it known that I want to do it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what have you seen from me all season towards RJS? Your new television champion, the person who beat me at November to Remember, the person that actually, the first person in backyard wrestling history that actually made me say I quit. And I give him props for that. I will give you props for that. And that has made me realize that you truly are who you say you are. In many promos of the past, I have discredited you. I have said the same thing over and over and over again, that I want to know who you truly are, RJS, and what you did that very day on night 2 of November to Remember. You made me say I quit, and you took something off of my shoulder. So I have gained an insurmountable amount of respect for you and everything that you stand for. And that is why I signed for the next 3 years here in BTW. So if I wanted to actually hurt RJS, it would have been known. It was simply, purely a mistake. And as you saw in most of that match, the maniacal, the ruthless Mad Jack from BCF, what is now the BCF 4, I'll give you props. You've come back here with a chip on your shoulder. You've come back here for gold. You come back here to prove yourself. But my point still stands. Me and RJS, we're established. And all the pressure is on you to perform.
Those are some interesting points. Those are some really interesting points. So Mad Jack is kind of in the way of unfinished business for you, because the week prior in BTW, you had a chance to reclaim that television championship. And well, you were that last man that was living. You were hanging on there. We thought you had one more grasp in you, one more shot to get back into the ring and maybe claim back a television championship, claim some gold. But unfortunately, you weren't able to do that. And Mad Jack stands in the way of what's ahead in a couple of weeks. And what about Mad Jack now, the man that just pinned you just a few short hours ago?
Mad Jack.
Yeah.
Mad Jack. The crazy man from California, the top man of his company, the multiple-time world champion.
Yep. The big
What
man
do
of
I think?
BTW. The big
The
man
big
of
man of BTW. Let me remind you of what happened last year. And I know this may be last year, and everybody wants the now, and everybody wants what's new. But I cut you in half, straight off of a trampoline, onto a platform as hard as what I could say is that ring, because now I have been in one, ladies and gentlemen. So what I would like to say is this. You have gained my respect. You pinned my shoulders to the mat. But at what cost? Was it done in a true way? Did you not absolutely thrash RJS most of that match because you weren't just getting your way? Because you knew. When I had you, I had you. I was whooping your behind until
you.
you and RJS had your little bicker. And to be fair, you want to be a known man, you want to be a top guy, you want to make a name. So, I guess you just had to do it. You pinned me, congratulations. You chokeslam RJS right after the match, congratulations. But now, at the Rumble, you have to perform.
Well, so far he seems to be performing, and certainly so far he seems to obviously be a thorn in both of you guys, and obviously we're going to see more of it here, coming up and such. And I mean, you've got obviously a lot at stake here coming up. You have a triple threat match and the Rumble itself. So I'll ask you a question I've asked you thousands of times, and some people that are here the same question that are in this chat. How are you preparing for both things coming up?
That is a very, very fair question, and I must say there is no way to prepare for a triple threat match on the same day as a 15-man Rumble. And not only is it a 15-man Rumble, it is a 15-man Rumble that determines the main event of the biggest show, arguably, in BTW.
Yeah.
So, I don't think there is any way to prepare for that type of pressure, no matter what the talent is. And I would even want to bet that RJS would say the same thing.
Yeah, I think
But that
that's
does.
a fair point. It's a fair point. I think that there's certainly that side of it, but in a way, you said Mad Jack is the one that has the pressure here coming out. I think that he has house money right now because he's gotten certainly under RJS's skin. We saw that with the Sunsetter to open things up here earlier today. You can go to the BTW YouTube page. I'm going to put the link up. We'll go through the match. We'll talk about it. And you're the one that also has had gold. You have your own championship. But I think he's playing with house money right now because he's got a victory over you. He's gotten into RJS's skin, and he's coming in here now. It's now an improved BCF now 4, and he's got a size advantage. He's got things he can say. It's a different Mad Jack than the one, as you even pointed out, from last year. And I think he's the one right now that's playing with house money because you even brought it up just a few minutes ago as well, in that the history between you and RJS, that was one of the most personal feuds in all of BYW last year. It was right up there where you could throw names out there and figure it out, but this was one of the most personal feuds. And yeah, maybe there is mutual respect, but you still, the two of you seem to cannot get in each other's way. You can't get out from it. And I think right now he's playing with house money because RJS is going to be upset about what happened, you getting pinned, and on top of that, spearing him. And you guys, with your history, Majak might just be able to go right through the middle with his size and claim for himself a BTW television championship.
And, Tom, you make a point. You make a lot of very fair and true points. And that is something that I do have to resonate with, and that is something I do have to think about heading into this match, because, in all fairness, it doesn't matter what it is. We're all at war, no matter the respect, and that is fair. Me and RJS certainly have a very, very long history in backyard wrestling that spans even farther than last year.
Yeah, and even last year, just a few short months ago, punches were not pulled here. Punches were on this platform. They were on Instagram. You had other wrestlers from other places getting involved. It was something that, yeah, you might mutually respect him. He might say the same, but you never get over that stuff. It's like in basketball. You're an NBA guy. Yeah, Shaq talked about Kobe, and he talked about how much he loved him. He was his little brother. But it was after the fact that Kobe passed away, sadly. Shaq talked about Penny. Look at Michael and Scotty in basketball. Yeah, well, they teammates, but you hear different things. You and RJS, yeah, your teammates at BTW. BTW's on fire. You guys are in the ring. You got a headline here. You got now BCF4. Some other guys I hear are supposed to be showing up, but that history's still there. You guys are never going to get out from that. You can't tell me otherwise. And I just gave you examples from people. Like I said, Shaq talked about, yeah, I loved Kobe. You didn't change the past all those years. One guy, listen, Kobe basically got Shaq out of Los Angeles, wanted to win on his own. Shaq wanted to go to Miami and win on his own. He wanted to win a championship, and he basically got I hate to say it, a poor man's version of Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. Not a bad version of a poor man's version of Kobe Bryant, but we can go down in history. Scottie Pippen, he tried the same thing, didn't quite work. If it wasn't for, a fake foul that was called, maybe he would have got it. But the facts are is that you and RJS, you got those same history. You see it all the time in wrestling. See it all the time in sports. And you can talk about respect and after November to Remember, handshake, hug, but it's never going to change. We are live. If you want to say something, I know it's been a few weeks since you've been here, but
Let me just remind everybody of something.
Yes, sir.
Quickly.
Go for it.
I wasn't the person that gave myself the name, the King of the West Coast. I earned that name. I have proven myself. I have gotten my stripes. And you know what, Tom? You make a point. RJS, me and you do have a very, very long history. I did not mean to spear you that day. And maybe I may have felt a little bad after. But if there is any truth to the matter, as Tom has sat here as the GOAT of interviewing and with his amazing skills of being who is the man in Sportswire, I'm just going to come out and say it. After everything you did and said to me, it feels pretty good.
Whoa! Whoa! There you have it. You know what? I mean, boy, Comatose basically said, you know what? It did feel good. And Comatose was actually, we'll put the match up, but we have the post here. Thank you to BTW for obviously giving us that. Obviously, yeah, our RTG certainly did hook us up, baby. Yeah, we'll have an announcement. He is coming back to Sportswire. I know that's going to certainly make Comatose's blood even further boil here because RTG is on his way back to Sportswire right before the BTW Rumble here. But we have the poster here. And yeah, I mean, listen, RJS and Comatose, to me, these guys, they're never going to be finished. They're never, listen, they may be teammates now, but like I said before, I gave you examples, and we've seen this all the time in the underground wrestling circuit. But let me ask you, though, this question, though. I mean, you're in a triple threat. You're in a Rumble. You proved a lot last year. But now it's a new season. I mean, what would it mean to you to win the BTW Television Championship here?
If I was to win the BTW Television Championship, what it would mean to me is this: that everything I have said and have been saying is true. I am tired of hiding how I really feel. I earned, like I said, I earned my stripes. I won 3 championships and came on, and not only did I win 3 championships, I walked onto this platform with 3 championships. The first person in history of Sportswire Radio.
Yes, you did.
And,
Yes, you did, sir.
and not only that, but to this day, 365 plus days later, I am your inter-promotional champion. After beating the likes of El Basico, Ashton Manson, RJS, Jacob Frost, I hope you're enjoying retirement, and Steven Storm.
Big names. Those are big names, especially, Jacob Frost, Steven Storm, a man that's been on this platform. And you mentioned RJS, a man that to me, I think it almost can't finish a sentence in your career without his name. Last year when you came to BTW, it was about the comeback of Comatose, this journey 4+ years away. We talked about it famously, the things you went through in life and almost just the whole process of coming back into the yard, the doubts, all the different things you went through. And it was an amazing story, an amazing journey. You came almost out of thin air, out of nowhere. You had all this massive success in BTW. You put yourself where you are. One of those guys right now we think about in the backyard wrestling circuit. No question about it. Absolutely. You are right there. BTW, one of the premier places, the viewership, the subscribers, being in the ring. It's exciting to talk BTW again. It's been a hot skip in a minute, but I think you've basically helped put your career back on the map and took your career to heights that almost no one really thought you could do again. But this year it's different. Because this year, you've got to prove that it wasn't a fluke. You got to prove that last year wasn't a flash in the pan. And we see it all the time. Like I said, you bring up in sports, wrestling, music. It's always so tough. I had Brian Damage Foresight yesterday. Kicks has this big album, Blow My Fuse, sells 1 million+ records. They had to follow the record up. And, well, the next record they didn't do so well. It's a big year for you, Comatose. I know you say Mad Jack has the pressure, but you won 3 belts. You had your own championship, kept that. You had 2 other belts you won here in BTW. But now you've got to follow it up. And it's not easy to do what you did last year. How are you going to do what you did last year and follow it up and especially now on a bigger stage, in a bigger box, figuratively and literally, with now some even better talent.
Once again, all very, very fair points. And there is only. I'm a man of many words. Very,
Yes,
very, 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 very
tonight,
known.
yes, tonight's a little bit. I don't know. I mean, is this the
But
Comatose I remember?
There's only one word
Go for it.
to describe what I have to do, and that is perform.
Good word. It's a good word.
There is no other word. Because you are right, I talked a lot last year. I ran my mouth, and I did a whole lot of things that I have to back up. So, now that you have asked me this question, let me ask you this question.
Go for it.
What is a king to prove by continuously running his mouth and not showing his actions?
Mind games. King does it because they want to show the world that they don't have that doubt inside. They don't have that inferior complex. Any leader, you see any movie, Scarface, Training Day, you name a movie, name a person, they always go out and boast. You see it in wrestling all the time. It's classic textbook stuff. You did that last year, but you backed it up. Obviously, we're still very early in the season, but we're at a pivotal moment. And especially the last 2 weeks, where you were right there to reclaim another championship. And RJS was the man that kept that championship and took you away from being a double champion once again. And then this past evening, just a few short hours ago, we'll put the match up. I know that a lot of people want to talk to you here tonight. You wanted the wait. Well, you got it. You know, to quote Kiss, you got the best in BYW. Well, you got it right now. So there you go. But maybe I'll get Kiss on next. Stay tuned for that. But listen, the point.
Oh
You
boy.
never know. Listen, I mean, I just spoke to the. I've spoke to Black Sabbath. I've spoke to Megadeth. So we'll say. I got give me some time. I promise. But enough about that for a minute. We'll get to that in a different time. But last year we talked about. But this year's a pivotal moment for you. You can you can talk all you want. If you succeed in the BTW, you win the Rumble, and then reclaim a championship. I mean, that's why you asked me a question. Well, guess what? All the talking, you get to do it in 2 weeks. And I tell you what, win the BTW TV championship, win that 15-man Rumble. Oh, we're not going to hear the end of you talking ever. Well, I mean, people talk about Anthony Steele. People talk about James Taylor. People talk about two guys in the chat that I'll get to that they talk. You can talk all you want till the day you die, till your mouth is so dry that you just can't open it anymore. If you succeed in 2 weeks from now, that's your answer.
100%. And that leads me back to the one word that I gave you.
Yes, sir.
And that is perform.
That's a good.
Perform.
That's a good one. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Perform. Like you said, there is no point of talking. There is no point of giving these long-winded answers. There is no point of trying to make you people believe in what I am when I've already proven it, right? So now all I have to do is simply perform. And I know that maybe I have talked a lot. And I will still continue to talk, especially with the likes of some people that like to call themselves a headline running around in my company.
Oh, he's here in the chat right now, and he was just here a couple of days ago, and he sort of suddenly referenced that company BTW, and he's been here and he's wrestled and he's been here in main events already. We'll definitely get to him, and yeah, I mean, he's a topic. There's just no question about that, and there's a lot of
Yes, he's
people
a
here right now.
headline.
Well, he's
Yes,
a
he's
topic, and and we're gonna get to him. But before I do that, let me get some business here in order to plug. Let's first go to the
of course
BTW Rumble card. Let's do that first. I'll put the main event up here in a minute. But thank everybody here for being patient. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. Your voice, figuratively and literally, we're all wrestling matters. And coming up here 2 weeks from today, as I stated, we have the BTW Rumble 9 television championship match, triple threat, Mad Jack, RJS, the current champion, Comatose, also the BYW interpromotional champion, bang, bang, balls of fire there. We've got also the Northwest Society versus the BCF4. There you go. Mikey D, Steven Storm, no stranger to this platform. BTW tag titles on the line. We'll have to see what happens there. Certainly,
my
BCF4 is
son.
coming. Well, BCF4 here is coming, with a different attitude here this year. We'll see. And of course, the 15-man BTW Rumble match, and the winner of it goes to the main event of BTW Mania 8. You see some of those faces on that poster. RTG, baby, who continues his storybook run here. You know he's going to be talking about it the day prior, April 28th. Yeah, that's right. There you go. RTG's back just less than 24 hours before the BTW Over the Top Rumble match. He's going to be here. There he is, RJS, a man that, listen, Comatose, he just can't seem to get away from. Like I said, the coolest guy in the yard, Mr. BES. You got certainly Mr. Gabriel James. You got Swift. Boy, Aaron Blaze, you definitely know him very well. So that's just the start. And please support our friends over in BTW. You can check them out on Instagram. I'm going to put the YouTube link up. So please support the guys. They've been so gracious. And we're looking forward to having the guys back now on Sportswire. I'm excited about it. It's a good time. And I was speaking to RTG Baby about it. And yeah, I figured give him a couple of weeks to drown his sorrow about his San Francisco 49ers. No, I'm only kidding. But no, we're going to have him on here. I'm very excited about that. And I know
My mom will be mad.
she would be mad, but she's always been a gracious supporter and a big supporter of BTWs. But hit the sub
Yes.
for them. We're going to put your matchup here in a minute. Let's do that. Then we'll get to the channel. A lot of people want to talk to you. It's been a minute, and we'll do that in a few minutes. But let's go and play some of the highlights of the match. We'll talk about it. We're going to put Mad Jack up first. Here he goes. I'm going to go like this. That's the beauty of technology. It's an interesting thing. There he goes. Here is Mad Jack, and there you are. And I mean, you're in the ring, and yeah, I mean, it's about to get on. And as I stated, the man that you just seem to not be able to get away from is about to come out and such. Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Mr. RJS, the Sunsetter.
the sunsetter, but yeah, the sun had already set
Mm.
hours before, but he's certainly coming out. And again, in this case, you guys have a common enemy in Mad Jack. I mean, this should be an easy thing. We eliminate the big guy coming up in 2 weeks. Is there a strategy that you're working on in this match? I mean, without telling us anything, and obviously the incumbent is here, but is there a strategy you have going in to the 29th here coming up in 2 weeks?
Yes, there is definitely a strategy that I personally have going into the match. I don't know necessarily about RJS or
He ain't
Mad
gonna
Jack
tell
for
her.
that
He's not
matter.
here. Yeah, RJS
Yeah,
is not gonna tell
but
her.
I definitely do have my own strategy without revealing too much. And all I know is that I'm very confident that I
Confident.
could very, very, very well once again walk on your platform as a multi-time champion.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think people are going to be very curious to see it. And there's no question. I'm excited about April the 29th. So I'm going to ask you the obvious question here. How has the adjustment been being in the ring now?
I'm not gonna lie, this is to break a little bit. This has been one of the best experiences in my entire life.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm not going to lie. I feel like I have a future in
I think you do
this
too.
beyond even the yard.
Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. I want everybody to have a future. Good. That's great to hear because you guys put a lot of effort into it. It's very costly and a lot of hard work was put into that. That's great. That's great that you're able to feel that this is something you want to continue to do in a different way that maybe especially for you because 4 years you were away from this and for you to be here in this it's got to mean extra sentimental almost in a sense.
It definitely is, and I will say this to break once again. This April trip is going to be, and I'm going to say this publicly, the most heartfelt and important one for a couple reasons that I can't reveal.
Yeah, don't do that here because we are live and people tend to actually want to come on to Sportswire. We want to continue to have that happen. So yeah, we'll leave that at that. But you have experience with Mad Jack in the ring, obviously in the past, but now you have experience with him in the ring. And what's different about him in the ring, wrestling him versus on a trampoline?
I would definitely say that it would be honestly, even though I will say that I took the pin and got my shoulders actually pinned for the 1, 2, 3 in this match, it felt more natural because, and I will explain why. Because when I wrestled Mad Jack previously, it was not only on a trampoline, but it was on a platform. It was a multi-ring system.
Yeah,
So there is adjustments that have to be made when you're on the trampoline, and then you make your adjustments when you're on the platform. And then, of course, if you're going to do a big spot like spearing him off the trampoline onto a platform, that is a huge adjustment to make.
sure.
But however, this was a flat surface. Everything that I expected to come did come. I've never been a man to back down from any competition, whether it is in the ring or in real life. That is why I am proud of where I have gotten myself to this day.
Yeah.
In real life and in the ring.
And congratulations in real life for those that may or may not know. Comatose actually got a promotion. He got a job promotion, a serious job promotion in real life. No, he didn't get a promotion in the ring. He went, yes, well, he did trampoline to ring, but in real life, he's like a boss now. He's like a legit boss. I mean, seriously, maybe he should take over Sportswire because he's got the credentials. So, congratulations on that.
I absolutely appreciate that. I have been busting my ass for 4 years to get a journeyman's butcher license, and not only that, but now to become a manager of
Yeah.
a butcher shop.
It's a big deal. No, listen, I
And
remember as a kid, my dad was friends with a drummer, Jimmy Pinto. My mother's asleep. She'll probably appreciate it if I ever mentioned it. She caught it, but he was a journeyman's butcher who became, like a big deal. He got a really good job. My dad was always like, you should work at a butcher shop. Yeah, you should cut them. But I'm a big mouth. I went to politics instead. Yeah, that was the dumb decision on my part, obviously. But he always said, "Oh, what a great job it was! A great job." But Jimmy's dad was a butcher, so he was like, "That's it. He didn't go to college. He didn't do. All he did was drum." And he was a butcher, and so it's a great job actually. A butcher is a legit
yeah,
great job, and you can
yeah.
provide for your family for the rest of your life. So congratulations.
I really, really appreciate that. And once again, to for a minute to break to give some, because of course there's a lot of people watching, and I just want to say this: if you are ever struggling to look for a career path, or ever struggling to find out what could make you stable in life, become a butcher. You can
Yeah,
take it anywhere in the world. You get paid very, very well. The training is immaculate. And not only that, if the world ever really does go to crap, you're going to be a necessity.
yeah. Union benefits. Most of these jobs have union benefits, and You could work the job. Yeah, I mean, listen, not to talk, break the fourth wall too much, but yeah, like I said, I was told you gotta get a job being a butcher. And me, yeah, I wasn't listening. I was like, nope, I'm gonna do it my way. Which, look, I've had some success, obviously, but I that wasn't for me. But I'm glad that you did that. But let's go back to the match here. So obviously,
Yes, for sure.
it's a longer match. There's no question that he's wearing you down a bit, but it is turning personal. Do you feel like in a longer match, who did this favor?
Completely honestly, I did feel like it would favor me, and that is because of the size.
Right.
While people may have the obscure vision that size would obviously dominate someone that's nowhere close to the size of this guy, the longer
Yeah.
you go, the more tired and slow
Yeah.
and sluggish and sloppy they get. However, to give Mad Jack further props, he is the BCF 4 leader for a reason.
Yep.
And I may have undermined his mental ability. Even
Well,
though he made plenty rookie mistakes in this match, he had a game plan.
yeah, he seemed to because we'll find out here in a matter of minutes. But yeah, he hung tough with you. I thought the same thing. I'm watching this match, and you shared me the link, and unfortunately, I was actually in the middle of something sort of related to politics. So for the next few weeks I can't catch these shows live, but I've been catching back up,
It's
which
all
is a
good.
great thing. And I was having, because I'm in Brooklyn, of course, and I have to have my usual meal, my slice of pizza and my soda, because I'm just finally starting to get a little bit better here. And I'm watching this match, and that was my thought. The longer this match goes, Comatose is going to find a way. He's got the agility. He's got the speed. He's got the quickness. He's going to find a way. Mad Jack's going to self-destruct with his temper, with RJS. But Mad Jack hung in there. The longer, sometimes, again, going back to the sports mottos, when you can't put somebody away, when you're supposed to put them away, they hang in there long enough, it becomes anybody's game.
That is absolutely true. And like I just said once before, I definitely undermined his mental ability. Like once again, I did say, and to go a little more into detail as we are watching the match, he did pin me multiple times with my
Yeah.
foot on the rope. While
Early
a
in the
lot of
match,
that
I
was
know
on
that. We saw that, or very early in the match. You were pinned, but you put your foot on the rope.
first, which I wanted in that sense to show him my ring awareness and everybody in the yard my ring awareness that it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if I have been in a ring or not, that very quickly I can figure it out. Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, I want to remind you, this is my second match in a ring,
Yeah.
and
I mean, a lot of you guys,
all.
yeah, don't have that. It's like riding a bike. Not Aaron. I know Aaron's done it a lot. Obviously, RJS has done it, but a lot of you guys, you know, what do you expect to do? It's like if I pick the guitar up again. I haven't played it in like 10 years. Yeah, I'm not gonna sound. I ain't gonna sound like Brian Damage Forsythe. I'm gonna sound
No,
like Tom Rice, and
absolutely
you
not.
guys are gonna be good. So it takes time.
It takes time, and but that my point was this: this being my second match in the ring, and I already have the ring awareness to know where I am at, to put my foot on the rope, to know that I have enough distance from
And
my
right
the bottom
there,
of my foot to the rope,
and
and
right
not
there.
only just that, and right there, and not only just that, I got my foot under the rope multiple times,
Yeah.
and not only that, I worked those corners. And then not only that, took the big man down with a shining wizard to the gut.
We saw that just there. Yeah, I mean, no question. Definitely, a seesaw battle here, and we are watching that Comatose and Mad Jack, the main event of BTW's most recent episode. You can check it out on their YouTube channel. I'll put the link up for it. I put Comatose's Instagram up. Give him a follow. I've put BTW's if you'd like to find out more about them. check them out as well. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all wrestling matters and all music matters as well. Thank you so much for your support recently. I really appreciate everybody here tuning in and being patient with us with Comatose. We will get to you in the chat shortly. And Mad Jack now is certainly starting to now get mad. He is definitely getting mad, and we can see he is stomping a mud hole. James Taylor would really appreciate that Stone Cold Steve Austin reference, but he is stomping a mud hole into Mr. RJS there, and that should give you some momentum here. But this is a big guy. I tell you what, he's impressive in that ring. I got to say that much.
He's a little bit quicker than I expected as well this season. He was not as quick last season. To give him credit, as he was saying earlier, he did have an injury that may have hindered his ability, which may have given him the edge in this match. But that doesn't mean I didn't learn. I got a singles match with you, Mad Jack, before a triple threat. I got to study you.
True.
And ladies and gentlemen, if I can remind everybody what I did to these boys last season, I 4-0'd you. You couldn't find a way to beat me, and you want to know why that was? It's because you guys never learned. It took Mad Jack recovering from an injury to finally defeat me, and not only that, some shady antics.
But
he did perform.
There's your foot on that rope again. There you go. You pointed it out, and there you go.
And then once again, under the rope. Showing his ring unawareness, getting frustrated, but you know that doesn't matter.
Yeah, he
doesn't matter because he capitalizes.
Yes, but he continues again. I mean, you could see obviously that he's got his own, quirks. It'll be, going back to what you did say originally to start the show. He's got his issues with RJS, and he's got to check those at the door in 2 weeks also, because if he wants to continue his momentum, he's got to forget about RJS because you're also a part of this match. So he's definitely got his own anger management, you might want to say, that he's got to keep in check if he wants to walk away with the BTW Television Championship.
That is absolutely true. And I also would like to point out that we did have a special guest referee that was biased towards both parties. So none of the pins were exactly on par. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say, while Mad Jack may have had me beat earlier in this match, I would have had him beat as well.
But there it goes! There it goes!
Cut him in half.
There it is!
It's like I just cut RJS in half.
There it is! There it is! There it was! The spear heard round the world, or as I should say, maybe the gore heard round the world. The gore heard round the world, and, the world definitely goes round and round, but it certainly didn't quite pay off for you, Comatose. But there is Mad Jack, and there he goes. And yeah, that's going to be a choke slam to the Roseburg, Oregon Hell, and through hell, fire, and brimstone. Quite a match, and he pulls it out. He pulls it out in a match that a lot of people said Comatose has got this one. RJS referee, Mad Jack and RJS having their own problems. Yeah, Comatose he's got this one. He's got this in the bag.
Maybe, and I must say, as Mad Jack is stripping the title off of RJS, I must say maybe everyone is undermining, and maybe even myself has undermined RJS's feelings about me.
Good point. Good point. Because it's could be simmering deep down, and also RJS struggled mightily last season. That was a big topic. RTG, was glowing to talk about that on many of his appearances on Sportswire. You and I spoke about it. You were here many times. And, some would say that he's a weak incumbent. He's a vulnerable incumbent because your history with him speaks volumes. And look at what Mad Jack has done. And we know just last year, RJS almost had to beat you to end the season because he basically couldn't beat anybody else. So right now, I mean, winning a Rumble doesn't really satisfy anybody to say RJS has got all the momentum in the world. And this might be the moment to start the season where he's ripe for the picking, and he's a weak incumbent.
And that is very, very true. And not only that, in all honesty, maybe it stings him a little bit that he had to watch an outsider become the first actual triple champion of BTW.
Good point.
And that is a shot directly at Jacob Wayne.
Good. It's a good point. That's a very, 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 very interesting point. And if you want to see some more of BTW finally in the ring, that's their YouTube link. They are in our Hall of Fame. They are in our Hall of Fame for a lot of good reasons. And this is one of those reasons. This is Comatose, the man who was the triple champion last year. He was the Continental champion. He was the BYW promotional champion, TV champion as well, I believe. So he certainly held a lot of championships. So he wants that television championship back. And of course, RJS took it from him. So we're going to have to find out more. But I have a lot of people that have been waiting a long time to talk with you. Let me get to them here. Some of them are going to be familiar faces. I'm going to go from the very, very beginning when we had comments that were when you just arrived. Let's do it right here. And Mr. Badman, I know obviously wants to get on here. I promise you we'll get him on at some point one of these days. But
Boy.
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. We have a.
You want to talk about a headline? Man.
We'll see.
That man makes me laugh.
We'll see. Well, we'll see. Stay tuned. Shane Davidson, I haven't seen him in a while. He would like to say good evening. Hope you're doing well. Hope the baby's doing well. Haven't seen him in a while, at least a couple months. Yep, how you doing? Rifle Club for Life. I was speaking to Blade a couple times during the week. I know he's got the YouTube channel link up. We've got a lot of stuff going on there. With him, we'll have to see where he's at in a few weeks and get him back on as well. We'll talk about that. Shane Davidson has been good. Good to hear that. He is that guy, and that's why I call him Comatose. Of course, he missed Mad Jack and hit RJS with the spear. That's what I would say, too, if I screwed up so badly. RTG, baby. RTG. I added the baby in there, but, he, had to spice it up a bit.
I'd like to see you wrestle a match this season.
He's taking it easy until the Rumble. Taking it easy until the Rumble. I mean, I don't know what to say otherwise, but we'll have to see. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that shortly. I want to plug a couple of other things that Blade is a part of, which you're a part of as well in a minute. James Taylor, who had quite a memorable appearance or two over the past weekend, he did his own version of tariffs on Natural Selection this past weekend. It seems like he's doubling down on them. I hope he's not taking, an imitation from who's running things right now. But we don't want any more tariffs, James. But apparently Natural Selection, they may have to deal with that.
Please.
Yeah, Natural Selection. Well, Jason Storm, he has to deal with that. He'd probably agree with us. But nevertheless, James Taylor is here. We're not going to talk about world and local politics, but James will be back next week for his birthday. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Chase Wakefield is here, obviously, the man who told me he had a kick story for his next appearance on you. What a small world. I had Brandon Costelli tell me his parents got him into kicks, and then I had Chase Wakefield tell me he worked a kick show. What a small world. Oh, Shane Davidson's making his return to indie wrestling. That's great. Congratulations. Thank you very much. That's
Congratulations,
awesome. Yeah, well, he's, it's late. And at least he's out of the dungeon tonight. Well, he's more than here. And he meant to say the accidental. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, we've been waiting, RTG. And cat's out of the bag. RTG, baby, is back on April 28th, right before the Rumble. So he's going to be talking a lot about you. Listen, from last year, we had those memorable appearances between you two. It's just
I can't wait.
It's going to be nonstop RTG, baby. And yeah, it's going to be quite the talk. And you're going to definitely want to check that out. But I did want to also give a plug very quickly. Well, I had a minute. I know a lot of people want to talk, but FCW, check out FCW. I've given them 3 subs. Check out their content. Last week's show is out. Check out some of the previous content. Blade's a part of it. Some others that you may or may not get a chance to know about, but until you check them out, that's their YouTube channel, FCW Full Combat Wrestling. Hit the sub for us, and we'll give you the sub back. So please support those who support us, and we'd appreciate that. Comatose is a huge part of the product. This is his football that he's running with it. Some of the guys like Blade are here. So Mr. Birdman, everybody else, check it out. Give him a sub. There we go. So we'll put that away for a minute. We'll let that hang out. We'll get to some more people. I know a lot of people want to talk. And we are now up to Tennessee All Pro Wrestling, where Shane Davidson will be. That's great. But this guy wants to say he's 3-0 in BTW so far. No comment. Move on. Next comment. We'll go next comment.
We'll get to him.
But I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do just for you? Coma. I'm going to do that. Gonna do that. Yeah, gonna do that. So I'm gonna do that. So yeah, I'm gonna go like that.
One quick thing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I remember challenging a certain someone to be the first match in the company, and someone said they wanted to wrestle Swift. So let's just move on.
That was painful. I mean, he won, but I mean, at what cost? That's the famous you've won, but at what cost? I mean, but I guess the win's a win. Analogy.
I also beat Swift in my first time wrestling him.
Well, I think his was a lot more dealing with more
painful.
Swift of pain. Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Swift, whatever it was. Fill in the vocabulary. Zilla, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hello to Aaron. Aaron was here Saturday. He's here again. I'd like to see Aaron back on again. Maybe next week. He's a busy man. YouTube. There we go. Got the link for our friends in BTW. Hit the sub. But he has a message. He has a headline this. Here's my message to BTW roster members. You all can rumble while I go to rule the world. I ain't playing toss over to get over. Next up episode, I am going straight to the source like a real man. Wow. Some fighting words there almost, don't you think?
I mean, it sounds like a certain someone wants to skip the line. It sounds like a certain someone's taking a certain blueprint that I used last year.
So maybe they just watched what you did last season and they're just imitations a great form of flattery or a more sincere form of flattery. Is that what are you telling us?
I'm just saying what I'm watching.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Obviously, we'll get to that. There's no question about that. And let's get to some more people.
Just to keep it short for now, because I'll definitely have my words.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll let you come back to some other words. And a lot of people want to talk to you. Aaron Blaze, you're not a real man. Mr. Bad Man is a real man. And he doesn't come out to Rikishi's I'm a bad man. He doesn't come out to that. But we couldn't play that here on Sportswire. But Rikishi would come on to Sportswire. He'd charge us, but he'd come on. But I don't think we're paying people to come on podcasts. We don't need to do that. We've got the big names come here for free. So we don't do that. Yeah. But they come for free here. Why do I need to pay for Rikishi? Mr. Badman, that's who he is. He is the baddest man in all of backyard wrestling. And I repeat, he does not come out to Rikishi. I'm a bad man. I'm that guy. Well, that was a great LL Cool J song. I'm that kind of guy. Oh, maybe I'll do that next in my intro. Instead of, I'll do,
I like that. That was my favorite one. I was sitting there taking it in.
People like the tomahawk chop. I mean, I think it was it Blade that liked those Hillbilly Tilly. He thought it was great because he's a big college football fan. I think Blade liked it. I think it was Remy Roberts, who's an LSU football fan. He hated it because obviously, it's tomahawk chop is the that's I think that's Auburn. So he hated that. It was Florida State. That's Florida State. Oh no, forget it. I'm LSU, FSU. Yeah, but some people like it. I had Torrance Banks. Oh, he loved the tomahawk. Some people like the tomahawk. I think James liked it. So I'm gonna keep the tomahawk. So we'll see. I like it. Shane
Yeah.
Davidson, well, we'll let them answer that for us. We'll talk about BTW first. I haven't had BTW in a while. People say I need to call myself a headline to be one, yet you put man in your name for people to call you one, though. Funny how that works. Well, ain't it funny? Yeah, I mean that's a Jennifer Lopez song, but ain't it funny if I look at her backside? But I'm not gonna go into that. But I'll say someone send Ox on Badman to see if he's really that bad. Nah, Ox is still busy dealing with Nicholas Crenton. Let's move on here. You have a wedding to get ready for, sir, and a kick story to share on Sportswire. You're finding yourself in a pickle right now because you are in the presence of a real man, Aaron Blaze. Boy, a real man. We've got obviously Bad Man. Almost wondering he comes out to Steven Regal. He's a man's man. When Steven Regal first came into the WWE, get it? He was Steven Regal, not William, and he came out to he's a man's man. That was basically what the people thought. Yeah. Please come. Please leave. Sleeping is what you'll be doing after I'm done with you in the ring. Well, these guys are having a rather entertaining back and forth. That's what you never know what you get on Sportswire. He's putting
Aaron
in the
Blaze
work.
and Mr. Badman is something I would never see in 2025. That is
2025 is
hilarious.
it's been an interesting 2025 so far on Sportswire and outside of Sportswire. And yeah, that wasn't on most people's bingo cards, but who knows really anymore these days? You just can't say any. You just can't count anything out these days, I suppose. Keep the
No,
peace, people in the chat. It's Comatose's night. When Zilla's saying keep the peace here, things are certainly picking up. Let's just say that.
and then when
We're going
Blaze says
grammar class,
Booyaka,
5 foot.
God.
Yeah, 5 foot. Yeah, what does height matter? Okay. Yeah, you want my social security? No, we don't want it. Well, let's not do that. Let's not do
What's
that.
going on?
Speaking of people though that seem to be commenting that I didn't realize it was their show or what they had a reason to be here for. This guy Justin Parsley. Speaking of triple holders, he's not quite a triple belt champion, but he's one half of the IMF Tag Team Champions. He's the King of Palo winner, and he's the PWF World Champion. And I hear through the grapevine he might be traveling once again further west. If that's the case for real this time, for real, he really might be traveling this time up west, but he really is here and he really has a comment to say. I'll take that if he doesn't, Blaze. Yeah, there you go. Justin Parsley, who's really here, who's really a part of the real monsters in the IMF, who said he really wanted the Savio Vega and Rhino treatment on Sportswear. He really wants to be in the same category as Savio Vega and Rhino. I mean, he's the hall monitor of Sportswire Radio. I mean, that's what he really said. He really said that here 2 days ago.
Justin. I have kept my mouth shut for a very long time and kept things respectful and kept it quiet. Mr. King of Palo, if you want to travel to the West, understand that that is not Palo, that is the West, and I am the King of the West.
Ooh, could be the wild west here. Could it be a wild west? Justin Parsley, should he really show up this time west with Comatose? Boy, that was a thing a few months ago. Could it be a thing now? I mean, stay tuned. Stay tuned. There is a lot of people here that want to talk, and let's move on. But Comatose is on Instagram. You haven't subbed to him? Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Oh,
that was a
oh,
subliminal.
oh, okay. There you go. We'll leave that at that. I need to know how tall stat. Okay, we will leave that at that. Thank you very much. Checking DMs now. I don't know who's DMing who. And I guess Aaron Blaze and Justin Parsley are direct messaging each other. If they care to let us know, probably not. Speaking of people that are obviously people I'm waiting for very, very soon to come back onto Sportswire Radio when other places will have some of their footage out soon. Mr. Silas Walker, the DBW Global Champion. Maybe he's testing his feet in the waters here west. Who knows? But waiting eagerly to see him back on Sportswire. He has a match with Austin James coming up, who was in my Kicks stream yesterday, slithering in and out from his grave. Yeah, well, he's going to be probably coming out soon with something to talk about. And there he goes. Mr. Darkron, of course, the host of the Dark Chronicles. Maybe he's scouting west. Maybe he's scouting new guests for his podcast. Could be both. Who knows, really? But if you want to go check out the Dark Chronicles, his most recent guest was James Taylor, the Nemesis, and maybe he's looking for more guests. And if you want to be a guest on the show or check out his episodes, be my guest. And maybe he'll take over for me on Sportswire one day. And in the meantime, though, give him a sub. Check out his content. Got a lot of great guests. Got a lot of great shows. Check him out. He's had some pretty big names. I hope you join me in supporting him. There he goes. Hello there. BTW's Instagram page. That always works. And there is Mikey D. Mikey D says those tag belts will be coming back to the BCF4, baby. BCF4, baby.
Mikey, I don't worry about tag team stuff. I'll let you have it.
Well, he just wants to announce to the world that the BCF4 is going to take those tag championships away.
Congratulations. I'm glad all 4 people stood up for you.
Now, if technically, now maybe we'll ask RTG
Both
this
teams.
question. Well, I guess we'll have to see, would that technically end RTG's career? Well, we'll talk about that on the 28th. We'll leave that at that for now.
If he competes.
Because
of course, if it's Gabriel and Blackout, it doesn't count.
Yeah, well, that's why we got to ask. We'll still ask, but we'll have to see. But we'll save it. We'll save that for the 28th. We'll talk about the mindset going in. But yeah, we'll let that rest for now. James Taylor. I don't know what the emoji is for, but he gave it. There you go. There you go. Comatose's Instagram page again. And it's nice to see you in a ring, Comatose. I definitely think you have a future in the ring. I agree. I definitely agree. And we hope to see more of it.
Thank you, actually.
Yeah. Good. That's what we want to see everybody go out and compete. Zilla wants to wrestle, but she's really nervous about wrestling. So she should really talk to Justin Parsley about that because she's used really so many times that she should really ask him about it. Speaking of people, though, that I have seen a part of things. There he...
hold on a minute. What? Where did that come from?
What?
I've never seen you that petty in my life. That was so funny. I'm sorry. I had to stop. That was so funny.
Oh, what? I really spoke to Justin Parsley?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
He knows how to wrestle, though. If she wants to really wrestle, he could really help her because he's obviously now putting himself in the same category as Savio Vega and Rhino. So since he's in that category,
he's really doing that.
He could help really Zilla and others to wrestle because he's in that same category. It's his words.
He really does it.
He said it on Sportswire. He said it.
No, I know. No, I know.
I mean, he said it. I mean, I wouldn't say it unless he really said it. I mean, he really did.
I know.
And
we'll just keep it at that.
The BCF isn't going to bring home all the gold. They're not.
Isn't?
Yeah, they're not. Now he says BCF is going to bring home all the gold at the Rumble.
I'm confused.
Let's really move on. Here. Okay.
I'm kind of confused.
I know it's late. I know we waited a little while for this, but let's move on. I don't see that happening for burger, chicken, fries, my guys. Okay. Yes, it is Andre Xavier, who is a part of the BCF4. Yes, that's why we're all kind of wondering. Thank you, Andre, for tuning in, and thank you, Andre, for following me on Instagram. And this is why you don't screw over Mad Jack. He said Mad Jack, but I think in this case, we're going to really give him a pass. I think he really meant to say Mad Jack and not Mad Jack, but typing is an interesting thing, I could say. It's an imagination of its own. It's a Midnight Dynamite episode like here on Kicks on Sportswire. Yeah. BTW, again, get that sub button. Blade is in the house again, Comatose, my brother. And one day the Rifle Club will be on here together. Yes, definitely stay tuned. Want to say hello to my buddy Skulls, who's now doing some refereeing in California. He's coming a long way from the days where he was no selling chair shots. He's working hard. Good, good. Very happy to see that. Everybody does, take time to get to where they need to be. And he's on his way to Vegas. Be safe out there. Please be safe from California to Vegas. Hit the sub button for FCW. We would appreciate that very much. And when I have time to Oregon, I like to look forward to facing any man on the BTW roster, even if that means I got to beat Comatose again. No disrespect, bro. Well, I heard Michigan. Now I hear Oregon from Blade. But I think you've got other things to pay attention to first. So we'll come
There are
back.
levels.
I've kicked Mr. Badman's butt twice. I'll do it again anytime, anywhere. I am the face of FCW, and I am the one and only legend killer. I know spelling is an interesting thing tonight on Sportswire, but I think I've got the point. Yep, and he put it. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, I figured that. Comatose, give him a sub. And yep, give Darkron a sub. I didn't put myself there. Tom was a real one booking me in a primetime pre-recorded episode. Like, well, you wanted to really come on and really do it right before showtime in the Palo Community Center. I mean, we can really remember that you guys were really minutes away from going to wrestle, but he did really want the Savio Vega and Rhino treatment. But regardless of that, we'll really see. I mean, do you think he really will show up, West? Do you think that that's something you'll really see this time, that this guy will really show up rather than not in a YouTube comment? Or what's your real thoughts on that?
Well, unfortunately, we can't take Mr. Justin Parsley lightly because he is the king of Palo. He is the PWF champion,
Yes.
but you are not the interpromotional champion. You're not the BYW interpromotional champion. You are simply the PWF champion.
That's he.
So I would hope that instead of trying to be a champion of the White Horse comment section, that you would want to show up in an actual company with an actual king who has earned that name through a rigorous and ruthless gauntlet.
I see. So obviously he'll have to really think about those accommodations. He'll have to really think about, maybe since he's obviously got a name like Parsley, maybe he'll really have to evaluate his plans on 420. Obviously, 420 coming up, his name Parsley. I mean, maybe he will really think about how high he might be in the sky if he would be West, because you guys obviously elevation wise really are out there in God's country. And we'll see if that'll include 420. We'll see if he'll really bring a sweet leaf or two of his. We'll have to find out for sure. But obviously,
You may see a 420 splash, if I may will.
Well, I mean, the question will be is, will that 420 splash be really on him?
I think it will be.
Well, maybe he really may want to think about his plans, maybe different plans. Maybe he wants to DJ instead, really. Maybe he can DJ the Afro Man song, I Got High. Maybe instead he can, instead do a set at Kendall's, or maybe really host some 420 trivia instead, if that's something that he really may not be to handle. It could be a strong dosage there. Strong dosages really may not really come in there for him, if that's something that he may not be able to handle there at his age.
Well, let me ask everybody a question. As a man of Justin Parsley's stature, who compares himself to the likes of Savio Vega and all of these great legends that have come on to Sportswire Radio,
Is he really thinking about what he's going to do next?
I don't think he really thinks. I think he just really does it. So I think that in this case of Mr. Parsley, if he really wants to go west, he's just gonna go. He's not gonna just tell you and just think about it. Like, Anthony Steele would give you a book report and say that's what I do, and
Yeah.
he would tell you
Well,
for 25 minutes. I think this gentleman will really just show up.
here's my problem with those two gentlemen. Anthony Steele is a guy that likes to do a lot of this, and that, and I'm gonna move on from that. He likes to do a lot of this, and that, and then like you just mentioned about Parsley, he's a guy that likes to do a lot of action.
Yeah.
So if you take the best of Anthony Steele and you take the best of Justin Parsley, what does that give you? That what does that give you? Let's all ponder on it for a minute. It's a guy that takes action and is right now talking his shit.
Well,
His name
I
might
mean,
be his name might be Comatose.
well, I tell you what. I mean, maybe like I said, Mr. Parsley really maybe he'll be at Kendall's instead on April 20th. Maybe he'll be hosting some 420 trivia instead. I mean, who
Maybe he'll
knows?
be at Burnt River Farms.
I mean, that could certainly be the case. I don't know, but we're certainly happy to accommodate him. And speaking of people that are having fun, and I'm on a road trip to handle business, so yeah, it's all good. We're having fun here, but we're here for a few more minutes. Obviously, speaking of people that want to get to places, Comatose is obviously really going to be going somewhere soon, and we want to certainly let him get to his destination soon. And you'll find out if you know, you know. But my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, and we will have some more BTW coverage here starting regularly. Comatose is here now. We're going to see some other people, and certainly RTG is back on the 28th, and you'll probably see Aaron Blaze and some others. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know certainly through social media and such like that. And if you'd like to hit the sub button for us tomorrow, I'm here with Wyatt Black of Legit Alternative Wrestling. And well, by the way, Anthony Steele is here next Saturday, April 26th. He's making his return to Sportswire, so yes, he'll be here for that. And yes, we have the Go Home show here for event 148. We'll definitely talk about that in a minute. But since I know you have to run here soon, let's talk about a few other things. Do you have any final words here coming up for anybody that you're going to face in the 15-man over the top BTW Rumble?
Well, we can't necessarily know who all will be in the 15-man BTW Rumble because, of course, just like you saw last year, you could have seen a surprise face like mine show up in this company. So
Right,
who knows who's going to show up this year? But
right.
regardless, to the people that I do know that are going to be in that company, in this match, such as BES, RJS, and Swift. Not only them, you got RTG, you got the BCF boys, you got the Northwest Society. This could very well be the biggest and best BTW Rumble to date. But that doesn't matter. And you want to know why?
Why?
Because none of you have the name that spells Comatose. None of you have the credentials of being called the King of the West, and none of you have held something called a backyard wrestling. There is no company in front of that name. It is backyard wrestling. Inter-promotional championship. So all I have to say is I'm very, very confident that this year, not only will I be your BYW Interpromotional Champion, but I will be your BTW Heavyweight Champion.
Ooh. Well, that's something that I'm going to get to that at a different time and place because that involves someone else. And that's obviously it'll be a blackout of an episode. We'll definitely get to that. That'll be in a different show at a different time. But obviously, Comatose certainly could have quite a night here ahead on the 29th. And the other component of what's ahead here on the 29th, I have to ask you about here. In and I know it's a lot considering what we've talked about tonight because we said a lot about Mad Jack. We watched the match. We most certainly talked a lot about RJS, and we know that it's certainly far from over between you two. But if you had any final words for Mad Jack and RJS before the 29th of April, what would they be?
I'm going to start off with RJS because obviously that has the most history. RJS. Now that we are finally to this point, and I am finally to the point where I need to really address you, let me remind you. Our first match together, because you underestimated me, I beat you in a 6.3 star classic by Copper Dragon. And then, of course, because I beat you, I undermined you and you made me quit. But let me ask you a question, RJS. Which one of those do you think hurts more? Which one of those do you think is burning more inside the core of what is a born to wrestle wrestler? I will see you at the Rumble. And as for Mad Jack, to simply put, my friend, congratulations, you have pinned my shoulders to the mat. But I cut you in half last year. I cut you down to size, and maybe you may have been injured. But let me remind everybody, while he may have been injured, this was my first season back in 4 years. And I cut that big man down like a tree in the woods. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind the world, when it came to the big pressure moments of this year, when it came to first time evers, what happened? Comatose beat Mad Jack first time ever. Comatose beat RJS for the first time ever. So for the first time ever in a triple threat match at the BTW Rumble for the new BTW Championship, Comatose is simply going to do what Comatose does and do it first.
Ladies and gentlemen, Comatose said, "Oh, I've been a talker." And he talked about a king. What does a king does? Well, you know what? I think I learned what a king does tonight. I think he answered that question for us. He answered it right before April the 29th. And right before we're about to close things out here on Sportswire Radio in prime time when the brightest lights, the biggest stage, is that he's beaten Mad Jack first time, beat RJS first time out, first time in a triple threat match, Mad Jack RJS. Not only going to beat them both, but he's going to take back the BTW Television Championship. And on top of that, going to win that BTW 15-man over-the-top Rumble and give him a shot at winning that BTW Heavyweight Championship, which would make him a BTW Triple Crown winner. Yeah, that's a goat of BYW. Yeah, that's a guy that's obviously showing why he's the king. And certainly we're going to find it all out here. That link is where you keep it tuned in. Hit that sub, get the notifications. Tuesdays, 6 o'clock Eastern time is where you can watch all the BTW shows live, and they're on fire right now. Oh, by the way, they're in a ring. They're in a ring. So, yeah, let's get ready to rumble. And before we go here, all of a sudden this guy really wants the BTW Heavyweight Championship, and he doesn't really want to just comment. And sometimes I covet, but I'm not perfect. I'm just a sinner, but I'm the center of attention, and I really hope I have yours. Well, right now you've really got to focus first on Mad Jack, RJS, and that 15-man over the top Rumble. And then maybe after you conquer all that, then yeah, maybe you'll really come back on the Sportswire in a couple weeks, and you'll really talk about this guy if he really shows up and you really meet him. But who am I to judge? I'm not going to be there, so we'll really have to find out. Yeah, you shouldn't want to leave the chat. We want you to stay in the chat. People want you to stay in the chat.
Don't ever leave the chat.
Yeah, people want to see her in the chat. They want to see her. She'll be back on the platform, I'm sure, here on in the video screen. Comatose, I tell you what, he is one of the very best, and he never fails to deliver here. He always delivers on Sportswire, always gets a big crowd, a lot of comments. People waiting. Listen, people were waiting an hour for Comatose. You know, like a lot of people come on Sportswire, and they really wouldn't wait an hour. But tonight, all of you waited an hour for Comatose. I mean, listen, he was like a rock star. You know, Justin Parsley really wants the Savio Vega and Rhino treatment. Well, it seems to me like Comatose really got the Brian Damage Forsythe, the Doug Pinnick, and he got the Randy Jackson treatment because like those guys who were rock stars, you know, opened for Woodstock, AC/DC, Sammy Hagar before he went to Van Halen, and Rad and Motley Crue and Judas Priest and Whitesnake, and the list goes on and on. All those big names we mentioned. Well, Comatose, like those rock stars, we waited an hour for him, and you really showed up and you got him, and he didn't fail to deliver. He was Comatose as always, and in the words though of RTG baby, well, that's why we're gonna let him get some closing thoughts in here because we don't want that to happen because then we really would have some problems, and then we really can't have him back on Sportswire. So on that note, sir, I'm gonna pass the baton to you. Let's give you some closing thoughts and take it away while I put up your Instagram here one more time.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are going to witness is what I have been preaching for over a year now. I am simply the king of the West. I am simply the GOAT of BYW, and I no longer have to preach it anymore. I am simply going to show it. So, to my opponents at the Rumble, Mad Jack, you think you're so hardcore, buddy. You think you're so hardcore. Did you not see what I put myself through last year just to become who I am on this very platform today? I think you did. You want to know why? Because you were one of my victims. And now, as for RJS, my long-standing rival, the Sunsetter, a man who calls himself the sexiest in the yard, and yet, ladies and gentlemen,
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen,
that at all.
Doug Pinnick didn't do that. Randy Jackson didn't do that. Rhino didn't do that. Savio Vega didn't do that. But Comatose did that. Boy, I can't wait to see what this rock star does going forward.
Can't do that at all. And ladies and gentlemen, that's not the last you're going to see of her because Mr. RJS, you talked a lot of crap about how you're the sexiest of the yard. I'm going to show you in real time what that means.
Oh my God. You want to talk about Midnight Dynamite? You want to talk about blowing my fuse? You want to talk about a hot wire? Bang, bang. Balls of fire. The wheels were just put in motion figuratively and literally because Comatose, live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, he just did something that almost nobody's done here. And he brought his other half to prove why he says what he is about being the sexiest man out there. I mean, I'll leave that at that. But certainly, yeah, that's what Brian Damage Forsythe and all the big rock stars that haven't been on here have done. So I guess RJS and Comatose are far from done, and they're far from over. And Mad Jack, by the way, is right in the middle of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to certainly be one interesting next few weeks here in BTW. And if you want to follow Comatose one more time here, check him out on Instagram. And yes, Comatose definitely dropped, let's just say, instead of a pipe bomb, he dropped some midnight dynamite, to quote our friends at Kicks. But before we go, he does want to put it out here. The man, the myth, the legend, the television champion. He hasn't said a word all night, but now he says a word, maybe the most, midnight dynamite full of words here, because respectfully, I would never want to do that with, I'll go like this for you. Well, I will end the show very much, but we do hope that you get some content back, and we do hope that you get back with that. But he is on BTW TV. We certainly don't want to put him in a further bad mood. But if you do want to follow BTW, I would really hope you check them out. Hit the sub button where you can see him wrestle. You want to see FCW, his other promotion. Check him out there. And this is the BYW Interpromotional Champion, Comatose. And my friend, I definitely look forward to seeing you soon. Safe travels if you are really going somewhere. And I hope to catch you in a few weeks here after BTW Rumble 9 and the fallout going on the road to BTW Mania 8. All right. Well, that was Comatose. I don't think he wants to say anything else any further. So let's leave it at that. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally. We're all wrestling matters. Also, thank you to Yoshimatsu Matsuda, who did want to extend his support. We appreciate that very much. But if you are here, check out BTW's most recent show. It just aired. Comatose was a part of the main event. I won't spoil it for you. Well, go back and watch the show. We kind of did. But he will be in action in the BTW Rumble. He'll be in there in the Rumble itself, also for the television championship in a triple threat with the current incumbent RJS, who is also here in Mad Jack of the BCF4. You'll also see, I'm sure, Comatose in next week's Go Home Show, BTW Season 7, Episode 148. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And if you're here on Sportzwire Radio, 9:30 p.m. tomorrow night, I will be here with Wyatt Black of Legit Alternative Wrestling, and we will talk more with him tomorrow. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. But until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, and go follow BTW.